Hello ADVers, how you doing? I'm just going to have a look at whether or not the starter motor would actually turn over, whether the armature in the starter motor would actually turn over when the bike's in gear and rocking the bike. Had a problem the other day down at the shops. Came out and went to start the bike, and there was absolutely nothing at the starter button. I did full dash, full lights, everything. The voltmeter was reading normal. And each time I press the button I could hear the solenoid clicking just the once with each press of the button. So something's up. There's power there, power getting to it, and I don't know if it's possible for the starter motor to seize, but I recently rebuilt my starter motor, and it was quite severely corroded, but basically cleaned it all up and put it back together. But I think that's had a fairly limited life, and it's come the time that perhaps I need to actually put a rebuild kit through the starter motor itself. But I wanted to just find out for myself more than anything else whether it was just a figment of my imagination, or whether rocking the bike did actually do something to the starter motor, whether it made the brushes seat properly again, or what, or seat fully, to make full contact with the armature. Not really too sure. I'm not an auto electrician or anything else, but I do know that rocking the bike worked. It only happened to me the once, and because pretty well once I got the bike started, I was only a few k's from home, so I rode the bike home, and pretty well parked it up and haven't ridden it since. So ordered a rebuild kit, and that's arrived. So I'm ripping into it. I pulled the starter motor out, and I'm just going to go over the bike and just show you how with the bike in gear, if I just move the back wheel forward and backwards by hand, you'll actually see the gears that the armature turns to turn the engine over. They do actually turn. So I'm just going to show you that. Here's the starter motor, ready to go. So I'm going to give that a nice rebuild, and I'm going to have the bike. I've set up myself a nice little LED torch in here just for a bit of light, and I'll zoom in a little bit just to give you a better look. So if I actually stick my fingers in here in those gears, I don't know if you can see this or not, maybe not, maybe I'll use a screwdriver or something. Okay, so just with a screwdriver in there, there's no resistance on that gear at all when it's turning anti-clockwise, but if I try and turn it clockwise, there's quite a bit of resistance there. So I guess that's how the clutch is actually working. But if I actually grab the back wheel, the bike's in gear now, and if I actually grab the back wheel and just rock it backwards and forwards, you can see that gear is actually moving. And I tried earlier, I stuck my finger in there, and while I was rocking that back wheel, and there's enough resistance there, it's pretty hard to hold it still. So I figure that's probably enough to move the armature enough, perhaps to seat those brushes properly how they're supposed to be. So yeah, it's fairly conclusive for me that it's not a figment of my imagination. And I know some other guys have found the same thing, that if they rock the bike, it would start up again, and perhaps indicating starter motor issues. So that's it from me. Have a good night, ADVers, and I'll put this up on our Australian site anyway, and yeah, if you want to refer it on, all good. Have a good night.